Leadership is not about perfection. It is about courage, sacrifice, and the willingness to face challenges that test the very core of the human spirit. It is about standing firm in the face of adversity, holding fast to one's principles, even when the path is uncertain and fraught with danger. Leadership means embracing responsibility not only for oneself, but for the people who look to us for guidance, hope, and change. The story of Aung San Suu Kyi offers a profound example of this complex, often contradictory nature of leadership. Her life is a powerful narrative that inspires millions around the world. Yet it also serves as a sobering reminder of the importance of accountability, humility, and the continuous reflection necessary for those who lead. To understand the full measure of her journey, we must walk with care through the chapters of her life, each revealing lessons that compel us to follow, to question, and to grow. This is a story not only of a woman, but of a nation struggling for freedom, of ideals tested by harsh realities, and of the enduring human capacity for hope and resilience. The foundation of leadership. Aung San Suu Kyi was born in 1945 into a world marked by the tumultuous winds of change. She was the daughter of General Aung San, a revered figure in Myanmar's history, often hailed as the father of the nation's independence. General Aung San was a visionary leader who played a pivotal role in the liberation of Burma from British colonial rule. His leadership was characterized by a steadfast commitment to national unity and sovereignty. Yet, just as independence was within reach, tragedy struck. In 1947, General Aung San was assassinated, a violent act that sent shockwaves through the young nation and left his family with a legacy both honorable and heavy with responsibility. Growing up in the shadow of her father's legacy, Suu Kyi was profoundly shaped by the ideals he represented: the pursuit of justice, the value of self-determination, and the courage to stand against oppression. Her early years were marked by displacement and education abroad, reflecting the complex interplay of personal loss and global perspective. She studied at Oxford University, a place where ideas of democracy, freedom, and human rights flourished. Later, she married Michael Aris, a British scholar, and together they built a life centered around family, intellectual inquiry, and quiet strength. Yet despite the peaceful life she had cultivated abroad, destiny called her back to Myanmar in 1988. The country was engulfed in political turmoil. A long-standing military regime had tightened its grip, suppressing dissent and crushing hopes for democratic reform. The people were rising in protest, demanding change. And in that moment of national crisis, Suu Kyi made a choice that would define her life. She chose to lead, not because it was easy, nor because she sought power, but because the moment demanded courage. Her return to Myanmar was an act of profound commitment, a decision to place the needs of her country above her own comfort and safety. From this foundation, we learn an essential truth about leadership. True leaders often emerge not from desire or ambition, but from the urgent call of circumstance. When the world around us shifts and challenges arise, courage becomes the seed from which leadership grows. It is in these moments of crisis that ordinary individuals are transformed, not by choice alone, but by necessity. The power of sacrifice. Leadership, as Suu Kyi's story profoundly illustrates, is inseparable from sacrifice. For nearly 15 years, she endured the harsh reality of house arrest. Confined within the walls of her own home, separated from her husband and children who remained abroad, she lived a life marked by isolation and uncertainty. Yet even in this forced solitude, her spirit remained unbroken. Her calm defiance, her steadfast refusal to abandon her cause, became a beacon of hope for many who suffered under oppression. The world watched as she embodied the principle that true leadership demands more than public speeches or political maneuvering. It requires personal sacrifice of the highest order. She willingly traded the warmth of family life and the freedoms many take for granted for the cold confines of detention. Her resilience, in the face of such profound loss, was a testament to the depth of her commitment to her people and her vision for a democratic Myanmar. In 1991, the international community recognized her extraordinary courage and unwavering dedication by awarding her the Nobel Peace Prize. This honor was not merely a personal accolade, but a global acknowledgement of the power of nonviolent resistance and the moral strength that can challenge even the most entrenched systems of oppression. Suu Kyi's peaceful struggle became a symbol of hope, inspiring movements for democracy and human rights worldwide. From her sacrifice, we uncover a vital lesson. Leadership requires a willingness to put principles above comfort and vision above personal gain. It asks us to confront the painful reality that change often demands loss, that the pursuit of justice is rarely a path of ease. Sacrifice is the currency of authentic leadership, and it is through this lens that we begin to appreciate the profound costs borne by those who choose to lead. Triumph and responsibility. The story of Aung San Suu Kyi is not solely one of endurance, but also of triumph. In 2015, after decades of struggle, her party, the National League for Democracy, won a landmark election. This victory was celebrated around the world as a triumph of democracy over authoritarianism, a moment when hope seemed to blossom into reality. Suu Kyi assumed the role of state councillor, effectively becoming the de facto leader of Myanmar. Her rise to power was a testament to the power of persistence and the capacity of the human spirit to endure and overcome. For many, her leadership symbolized a new chapter of possibility, a chance for Myanmar to step into the light of democratic governance and international respect. The world watched with anticipation, eager to see how she would navigate the complexities of governing a nation long fractured by ethnic divisions, economic challenges, and the lingering shadows of military influence. Yet, with power came an immense and often overwhelming responsibility. Leadership at this level is not merely about celebrating success. It is about carrying the weight of an entire nation on one's shoulders. It demands the ability to reconcile competing interests, to balance ideals with pragmatism, and to make difficult decisions that may please some while disappointing others. The challenges of governing a deeply divided society revealed the complexities of leadership in its most raw and real form. From this chapter of her life, we draw a crucial insight. Leadership is not only about reaching the summit, it is about what one does once there. The unrelenting responsibility to serve, to protect, and to unite. The true test of leadership lies not in the attainment of power, but in the wisdom and humility with which it is exercised. As we consider the leadership journey of Aung San Suu Kyi, it becomes clear that the core lessons she embodies extend far beyond the realm of politics or public acclaim. Leadership at its essence is about steadfast commitment to one's values, the courage to stand firm in adversity, and the grace to inspire others quietly, yet powerfully. These qualities resonate deeply in our everyday lives, whether we are guiding a team at work, supporting family and friends, or simply striving to be a positive influence in our communities. Each of us, in our own unique way, steps into moments that call for leadership, not through grand gestures, but through consistent acts of integrity, patience, and empathy. Reflecting on Suu Kyi's story invites us to pause and ask ourselves, how do I lead when no one is watching? How do I cultivate resilience and hope in the face of challenges? In recognizing that leadership is not the exclusive domain of the famous or the influential, we open ourselves to the profound impact we can make within our own circles. As we move toward closing these reflections, let us carry forward the quiet strength and enduring lessons drawn from her life, allowing them to illuminate our own paths ahead. The legacy of resilience. Resilience in leadership is far more than the ability to withstand hardship. It is a profound testament to the enduring human spirit and the unwavering commitment to a vision greater than oneself. Throughout history, leaders who have left an indelible mark on the world share this quality, a steadfastness that allows them to face adversity without losing sight of their principles or their purpose. In the story of Aung San Suu Kyi, resilience emerges not just as a personal trait, but as a beacon, illuminating the path for leaders across cultures and generations. At its core, resilience in leadership embodies a philosophical understanding that challenges and setbacks are not endpoints but integral parts of a transformative journey. It requires a delicate balance between strength and humility, persistence and patience, courage and compassion. Suu Kyi's journey exemplifies this balance. Despite decades of house arrest, political isolation, and intense scrutiny, she maintained her commitment to nonviolence and democratic ideals. Her resilience was rooted in a deeper belief that true leadership serves the collective good, and that lasting change is born from enduring conviction rather than fleeting power. This universal principle connects Suu Kyi's story to the broader tapestry of leadership across the world. Leaders who inspire are those who can navigate uncertainty with grace, who remain anchored in their values even when the tides of fortune turn against them. They understand that leadership is not defined by momentary victories, but by the consistent pursuit of a just and meaningful cause. In this light, Suu Kyi's example teaches us that resilience is not merely about survival, but about flourishing in the face of trials, using adversity as a catalyst for growth and deeper understanding. Moreover, her story continues to resonate with leaders today, transcending political boundaries and cultural differences. In a world often marked by rapid change and complex challenges, the need for resilient leadership has never been greater. Suu Kyi's legacy reminds us that moral courage, the willingness to stand up for what is right even when it is difficult or dangerous, is an essential pillar of effective leadership. It is this moral courage that empowers leaders to make difficult decisions, to hold fast to ethical principles when expediency tempts compromise, and to inspire others through example rather than rhetoric. In reflecting on modern leadership, her journey underscores the importance of integrity and authenticity. Leaders who embody these qualities foster trust and unity, creating environments where people feel empowered to contribute and collaborate. Suu Kyi's resilience was not an isolated personal endeavor, it was deeply connected to the collective aspirations of her people. This interconnection between personal fortitude and communal responsibility illustrates a timeless leadership truth: that true leaders are servants of a cause greater than themselves. As we consider the ongoing relevance of Suu Kyi's story, it becomes clear that resilience is both a personal and a shared legacy. It challenges each of us, whether in public office, business, or community life, to cultivate endurance not simply as resistance, but as a dynamic force for positive transformation. Her example encourages leaders everywhere to embrace the difficult path of moral courage, to persevere through uncertainty with hope, and to lead with a vision that uplifts and unites. The story of Aung San Suu Kyi reminds us that true leadership transcends time and circumstance. Her unwavering commitment to peace and justice invites us to reflect on the power of resilience and compassion in our own lives. These lessons are not distant ideals, but living principles, gently urging us to act with courage and integrity each day. As we carry her example forward, we find that leadership is less about position and more about the quiet strength within us all. With this understanding, we come closer to embracing the path ahead. Ready to conclude our reflection on her enduring legacy. In every era, the world calls forth leaders who are willing to bear the weight of its most pressing challenges. They are not always the loudest voices in the room, nor the most celebrated. Often, they are the ones who remain steadfast in the quiet moments, who choose principle over convenience, and who believe, even in the darkest hours, that change is possible. Aung San Suu Kyi was such a leader, and her story, with all its light and shadow, continues to speak to us across time, inviting us to be more courageous, more compassionate, and more committed to the world we wish to build together. Shadows of controversy. No story of leadership is complete without acknowledging its shadows, and Aung San Suu Kyi's legacy is no exception. During the Rohingya crisis, she faced intense and widespread criticism from the international community. The military's brutal campaign against the Rohingya minority resulted in massive displacement, loss of life, and accusations of ethnic cleansing. Suu Kyi's response, or more accurately, her silence in defense of the military, shocked many who had once regarded her as a moral icon and a symbol of human rights. This chapter in her story is perhaps the most difficult to reconcile. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that even the most admired leaders are human, subject to the pressures, limitations, and complexities that define political realities. It reminds us that leadership is not a matter of black and white, but of navigating the gray areas where moral clarity can become obscured by competing loyalties, fears, and the harsh calculus of power. The controversy surrounding her role in this crisis challenges us to think deeply about the nature of leadership itself. It is a call to recognize that leadership is not synonymous with perfection. Rather, it is accountability, the courage to face uncomfortable truths, to accept responsibility for failures, and to strive for better even when it is difficult. It is a reminder that heroes are not infallible, and that understanding their flaws is essential to learning from their stories. From this, we glean a vital lesson. Leadership demands not only courage in triumph, but also humility in failure. It requires the strength to confront our shortcomings and the resolve to hold ourselves and others to the highest ethical standards. Lessons for our own lives. So, what can we take away from the complex, compelling life of Aung San Suu Kyi? Her story offers us more than a historical account. It provides a mirror through which we can examine our own lives, our own leadership, and our own capacities for growth. Firstly, courage matters. Her willingness to stand firm when freedom seemed impossible teaches us the power of steadfastness in the face of despair. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the resolve to act despite it. It is the foundation upon which change is built. Secondly, sacrifice matters. Suu Kyi's life reminds us that meaningful leadership often requires giving up personal happiness, comfort, and safety for the sake of a greater cause. Sacrifice is a form of love. Love for one's people, one's principles, and one's vision for a better future. Thirdly, reflection matters. Her failures and controversies remind us that no leader is beyond critique. We must hold our leaders accountable, not to tear them down, but to ensure that the ideals they represent are upheld. Reflection is the process by which we learn, evolve, and avoid repeating mistakes. Ultimately, her story teaches us that success is not about being flawless. It is about resilience, the capacity to endure hardships and still move forward. It is about responsibility, the willingness to carry burdens not for oneself, but for others. And it is about the continuous journey of learning, recognizing that leadership is a path without a final destination, but one that requires constant vigilance and growth. Closing, Aung San Suu Kyi's life stands as a mirror reflecting both the extraordinary strength and the profound limitations of the human condition. She shows us that courage can indeed change nations, that the quiet power of hope can outshine the darkest oppression. Yet she also reveals that silence in the face of suffering can wound nations deeply and leave lasting scars. Her legacy is not simple. It is layered with light and shadow, triumph and tragedy, hope and disappointment, and it is precisely because of this complexity that her story holds such power. It challenges us not to worship heroes blindly, but to understand them fully, to embrace their humanity, with all its contradictions and challenges. As learners, as dreamers, and as leaders of our own lives, we are called to rise to this challenge. We must draw from her courage, acknowledge her sacrifices, and learn from both her successes and her failures. In doing so, we cultivate a deeper wisdom, one that recognizes leadership not as a pedestal, but as a responsibility, not as perfection, but as an ongoing act of courage and reflection. Because true wisdom, in the end, is not found in the adoration of heroes, but in the understanding of them. And in that understanding, we find the strength to shape our own future, to lead with integrity, and to face the challenges of our time with open hearts and steady resolve.